first of all, first week, what are your impressions so far on the offense?
Yeah, guys working hard, doing exactly what we want them to do. I think we're still working through the connection piece of this, the toughness piece. Starting to get into the grind of camp a little bit, week 2. So good to push them. You got to keep pushing through these next few days here. We got about 10 to 11 days left until we kind of start to turn the page towards game prep. So I think right now, with where things are, I feel really good, cautiously optimistic about things that are happening. Guys making plays, obviously defense making plays, practice going back and forth, so those are good things. But just focusing on with our unit, with the offense, just continuing working through the installs and just preaching toughness and connection and working that way.
How have you felt that the freshmen have been acclimating?
Yeah, freshmen. This is hard for them. Freshmen's tough, right? Like they're coming into camp. Some of these guys showed up in June and had a chance to go through some of the OTAs. Obviously, the guys that were here in January, had a jump start with being able to go through spring football. But the first training camp for anybody is going to be hard. So it's just about keeping their focus. Keeping them going. We showed this morning, like we had a drill yesterday with some of the freshmen that went and won the drill against the defense. So those opportunities when those things arise, trying to build praise with those young kids, because it's frustrating. It can be hard for them at times. Stepping into a new atmosphere, stepping into college football. So you just got to kind of nurture them. Everybody's on a different course as a young player, and you got to be there for them through this thing and keep pushing them through training camp, just like everybody else. Obviously, the veteran guys have gone through college football. They know what that feels like. But I think just, the freshmen, to me, like, they just got to keep doing the next thing, right? The next meeting, the next walkthrough, the next practice, the next install. They got to try to keep their heads above water at this point.
Who have some of those veterans been on your offense that have been helping them out?
Well, it starts up front. Everything that we're doing starts with the offensive line. I think Peyton Miller's having a great camp. Brock Taylor, Ator, Greg Knox, Jackson King's doing a great job. The 2 new guys we brought in this summer, Klingsmith and D'Alessandro, are doing a great job. Samu's, moving around. So everything's going to go through that unit and their toughness and how they practice and set the tone for practice and those types of things. So I think they're doing a great job. And then from there you go through the tight end group with Reese and Max Dowling, and Owen Anderson's having a really fantastic camp so far, and tailbacks are working. So feel good about where we are.
In terms of Pop, what are some of the physical attributes and some of the intangibles that he has that allow you guys to be so confident and kind of giving him so much responsibility?
Yeah, it's kind of both. Like he's a football player, number one. It's hard to classify him as a quarterback. He's just a football player, and loves being out there, loves to compete, loves the ball in his hands. I think like his mentality and demeanor and the way he prepares feeds through the offense. Guys feel that energy. I think from a football playing standpoint, obviously his mobility is really, crucial to his game, being able to move around and create, but still being disciplined and playing quarterback. And that's what we're kind of, just focused on in training camp. Like he's a quarterback first, no doubt about it. Like he's the way he's throwing the ball right now. I'd venture to say it's the best he's thrown in his life. He's really figuring out rhythm and timing and spacing with the receivers. Doing a really good job in the pass game, kind of working through those things, not being a repeat offender. Making a miss and then going to correct it. Which is what training camp is about. And so getting that spacing and timing with our receivers and tight ends is critical. Obviously, the mobility that he brings with the position is huge. But I think it's just the general football savviness that he has is outstanding, and it's fun to coach.
You've been in this league before.
Mm-hmm.
How much of a weapon could Joe be in these
Yeah, Joe Griffith, you don't see him like that often. I think Toledo had a kid a few years ago that was a Georgia kickback. I remember, the night they came to Bowling Green, he had a monster night against us. Just the size. You don't see that size on the perimeter. The 6'3", 215-pound. There's physical players in this conference, a lot of fast players in this conference. I think it's, what you see sometimes. You don't see the outright length that he has, and so he's using that length. He knows how to use his body, right? He has a great body control for a big kid. Plays with good pad level, is physical. So he's going to be a weapon on the outside for sure.
I think his freshman year at BC is probably his best year when he had Zay kind of in the slot there.
Yeah.
Do you see something similar between him and T.Y.?
Yeah, it's definitely, they're different players, right? So that, it does help. Like, you're not trying to ask Joe to do things he can't do, right? So, and T.Y. can't do some of the things that Joe does. Kez, Dallas, those guys, like, everyone's kind of fitting into their roles right now in training camp, and that's what it's about, is trying to figure out what they do best so that you can go feature them. But yeah, it helps every receiver room if you have another person that you can get the ball to and facilitate the offense different ways, right? Like he's not counted on to do everything. And so those guys are working hard. I think we're getting better. You know, and you see that daily. Like, you know, today was you know, had some explosive plays out there today in the throw game. So it's fun to watch their development.
Kind of going off that, just how's the running game progressing at this point?
Feel good. Like I said, starts up front with our offensive line unit. The tight ends are doing a great job. I think the backs, like the physicality that our running back room is going to play with, you know, we're going to have to lean on. You know, JT, you know, Justin Thomas, he's really having a good camp, like physicality. He's had a great summer, great spring, you know, the way he's been able to kind of set the pace in that room. You know, Elijah Faulkner's come on, you know, and we knew what he was a little bit last year when he played here for in the games that he was in. But, you know, his spring and into summer development, he's put some weight on, he's physical, he's hungry. Curtis coming in here, you know, is doing a great job from a physical standpoint. So you got two guys that are 220 pounds that, you know, that move pretty well for big guys, right? And so, you know, you get Jordan Washington back into that mix. You know, you got four really adequate backs that kind of same thing in the receiver room that can kind of all do different things within their skill set, but also, you know, you got to run the offense when they're out there. So I think the physicality, we just keep preaching every day. You know, we're going to win in late October and November with physical football, and it starts now through training camp developing that mindset and that mentality. So I think it's been good so far.
All of the tight ends, or most of the tight ends, returning from last season. How have they acted as a leadership group?
Yeah, I mean, Reese Atkins is a professional. You know, he's in here as much as we are as a staff. Like you know, he spends a ton of time with Coach Lehman. Max Dowling, same thing. You know, they just know how to prepare. They know how to go through training camp. They know how to take care of their bodies. They know how to, you know, there's never missed assignments or, you know, it's all physical technique stuff that you're trying to coach them, which is what you want, right? Like those guys are professionals at this point in their career. And so having those two cats in the room for guys like Jax and Matt O and, you know, even Owen's been around the block a bunch, right? So I think like they just kind of take care of themselves, you know, and they do a great job with that. People look at that room and go, man, like that's what it's supposed to look like. You use them as the example of all the things that we talk about, you know, from meetings to walkthroughs to taking care of your body to nutrition to all of that, you know, it all kind of stacks up and you have great examples in the program of guys doing that.
I think you said in the past that your scheme is more dependent, you have your scheme fit the players rather than the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
But are there some kind of non-negotiables that you have, like philosophically when it comes to offense?
I just think the mentality of toughness, you know, I think this is a, you know, there's no easy way to play this game. It's going to be hard, you know, and so I think you just have to push them. You have to, you know, the kids have to understand where we're coming from in that. You know, the skill will take care of itself in terms of the perimeter, what you have, and, you know, with guys, how you want to get the ball to those cats, the running back, same thing. Like each and every year that'll change a little bit. You know, quarterback, same thing. Does a guy move around? Does he not move around? You know, it all kind of is, it's very easily interchangeable. But at the end of the day, it's football, and you got to have toughness, leadership, you know, discipline, accountability, all of those things that we preach here. That you know starts with Coach H and Coach Green and filters down through the program. That's how you play offensive football.
You brought up Bowling Green a little bit ago.
Mm-hmm.
What did you learn from your time there as a play caller?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's the first opportunity I had, you know, so very grateful for that, to do that at the college level, I should say. So, you know, I had a really good mentor in Coach Leffler, you know, who's been around the block and done a lot in this profession. So I thought I was prepared just being with him for as long as I was. And then we had a great staff that, you know, were very collaborative in how we worked. And had really good players that bought in and did what we asked them to do from a preparation standpoint. It feels very similar to what we have here. Like you walk into this room, this is a fun group to coach, right? These are fun kids to be around. Sitting in this room every day with our guys, like we don't worry about a lot of issues, right? There's not a lot of guys that aren't, you know, kind of going down their own path. Like these guys want what we all want here. And so they're working towards that goal. And it's really fun to come to work every day.